Hi there, you wonderful, magical, sexy people. Welcome back. My name is Mihai from Romania, and we are still in the process of answering one question. That is, am I wearing pants? I'm sure you've asked that before. If you weren't asking yourself this question, I believe you are now. A second part of the question posed by Glitch Bottle, aka Alexander F, meaning where do we find magical manuscripts? And before we can go to the manuscripts themselves and methods of reading them, we can analyze briefly four ways of finding manuscripts, which are very, very exciting. So, there are four main ways in which we can access these manuscripts. First method is the easy method. So we will have four methods according to the degree of hardness you can encounter. We have the easy method, the so-and-so method, the hard method, and the very, very hard method. The easy method is when you are active in such a community and people know that you're interested in magical manuscripts and that you translate magical manuscripts and you publish magical manuscripts. So some colleagues of yours finds magical manuscripts. They will actually message you or email you and say, "Hey, Mihai, this is what I found. Isn't it cool?" Most often, this would be, for me at least, either Daniel Clark, a dear friend of mine, which I salute, or Aura Clavis in a Facebook group dedicated to grimoires, who actually dig this stuff up and do a lot of great work at it. Now, chances are that if you have a digital manuscript in your collection, that Daniel Clark had something to do with it. Either he found it, or either he paid the librarians to scan it. He does such immense great work which goes uncredited that I believe it's high time that people know the truth about this genius of evil. Hi, Daniel, and thank you for your service. Now, this guy just goes around looking for things and he finds them and he sometimes brings them to me, or he just dangles them in front of me like a delicious carrot because I'm a vegetarian. But most often he does really hard work, and some people are not aware of this. So this is one way magical manuscripts can be found, namely other people find them and they bring them to your attention, which is pretty cool. This is why I called it the easy way. Now, the second way is is a bit harder. Now, you can have a lot of digital libraries at your disposal, and then you have some like clues to find these manuscripts. Maybe you Google magical manuscript key of Solomon, and then maybe you get a list from pages like that of Joseph Peterson, and then you have the manuscript name and the library, and you just go to the library website and put in the manuscript number, and you hit search, and you have the scanned manuscript. This is the so-and-so method. Why? Because somebody already took care of the scanning process, and somebody already researched the manuscript library and found the manuscript containing the work you need, and they cataloged it as such, and they put the info online, and you just take the info from the website and you just input it in the digital library, and then you hit search, and then you have the manuscript. It's not as easy as somebody just giving you the manuscript, but it's way more easier than the other two. Now, this is a preferred method in the academia, and it's way easier than just downloading an entire manuscript and then re-uploading on your website. If you're familiar with my work that I do over at the Studies in Magic blog, you will see I I blog about a manuscript that I found, or a manuscript that Daniel has found, or a manuscript that Ora Clavis found, and then I put up the link and I say a little something about it and what it contains and what is it about, and this is a bit easier. So if you're following my blog, you will have a lot of manuscripts and contents and so forth, which you can start in realizing your own little library of magical manuscripts. Now the third method is a bit harder. Nobody is doing the work for you, and sometimes you have to be like a maverick researching this field. We are gonna deal with digital libraries in the next episode and where to find things, but the idea is mainly that you have no help and you have no website telling you what to find, and you have to do your own research. So for instance, if you have a digital library like the BSB, the Bayerische Staatsbibliothek in Munich, you can perhaps find articles or find books on what manuscripts are contained with the said library. So you have BSB manuscript 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1400. I don't know how many manuscripts there are in the BSB, but there are a lot of manuscripts. And maybe some books contain what those manuscripts contain, because if you find manuscript BSB 245, you have no idea what it contains. But if you check the catalog of the library, or if you check the catalog of someone who went through every manuscript, you can see, this is a book on the urine of dogs, and this is a book on the position of the stars, and this is a book about what to do when your wife is cheating on you, and this is a book about summoning demons. Aha! It's a book about summoning demons. So BSB 200, whatever I said when I said it, should be a book on magic. And then you go to the digital library, the Digitale Sammlungen website of the BSB library, and you go and put the number, the BSB 200, whatever I said, and you should have a digitized copy of the manuscripts, if you're lucky. Sometimes the manuscript is there, but you cannot access it because nobody did the footwork to digitize it, because it takes time and it takes money, and nobody cares specifically about your manuscript. So this is somewhat of an easier way, because you have a target. You know that this manuscript in this library says in this book that is about demon summoning, or your cheating wife being punished by magical forces. Now, the second method is a bit harder than this, because you just go to the website and check out all the keywords that could be associated with magical works. So if you're lucky enough that your manuscript was already researched by somebody who worked at the library and actually wrote down what the manuscript contained, maybe by thematic, you could actually go and use this keyword and look for the manuscript itself. So unfortunately, there are no categories, there are no large categories in many digital libraries, like this is mathematics, and this is literature, and this is liturgy, and this is the magic section. There is no such thing. You have to do your own research. So you just hit the magic keyword and you hit search. Sometimes you will get some books, sometimes you will get no books, and then you're gonna have to think what kind of language you're looking for in these manuscripts. So if you have Latin, then you will have to use the search word magia or magia. In Latin, it's magic. So you have to use the search word, the keyword of the language that you're researching your books into. So if you find or don't find anything interesting, you can use instead the search word or the keyword in the language in which the website has its books catalog. So maybe you are looking for Magie in German, or Zauber, which is witchcraft. Because if you have a German website and you have Latin text, the description of the text might not be in English. It's actually a very low probability that the description from a German library, from a Latin manuscript, would be in English. For you just secrets of the grimoires, and then you hit search, and no, you have to look for the keyword of the language and the keyword of the language of the people who made the library. So in German, so you look for Magia or Magie or Zauber, and then you hit search, and then you see what pops up. If that yields very little results, then you would have to look for a specific work or a specific type of word in such a work. For instance, if you are looking for Liber Juratus Honori, the Sworn Book of Honorius, the chances that there's a manuscript entitled specifically Liber Juratus Honori in the BSB library is kind of short. So you'll have to go around this. There is some probability that if you look for Honorius or Honori, you might find a lot of manuscripts, some related to Honorius of Thebes, some related to Pope Honorius, one of the popes that were called Honorius. So you might find something, but you might not find what you're looking for. Now, if you put Liber Honorius, two of the three words you know that were the title of the work, you might find some works pertaining to the magical Honorius. And then you go through all the listings that are yielded by the search of Liber Honorius. Then after you've done that, you look for Liber Juratus, and then you look for Liber Sacratus, and so forth and so forth. So for Liber Juratus Honorius, you will look for Honorius or Honori or Liber Honori or Liber Juratus or Liber Sacratus or Juratus Honori or Sacratus Honori. 7 searches for one title of the book. So it's a bit tricky. Now, this is if you're extremely lucky and the library actually has a manuscript and somebody already came and saw what the manuscript is and decided to put it in the description. Now, there might be a manuscript of Liber Juratus Honori in the BSB, but you have no idea if it is if someone didn't look at it. So there might be 10 manuscripts, but if it only says prayers or liturgies or magical texts, you have no idea. The second part of the hardish way is just look at lists of manuscripts and open them and see what they contain and read a bit, and then close one manuscript and then go to the second manuscript and see what that contains. If you have a lot of time and if people support you on Patreon, this might be easy, but some people have jobs. I'm a bookbinder, I have to do some work to earn my living, and this is undoable if you have a day job. If you're a researcher and this is what you do and you have a scholarship, this is perfectly fine. But if you have a day job, this is impossible. The fourth way of finding manuscripts is the hardest of the ways. It doesn't imply any digital libraries, and if the library didn't digitize the manuscript, this would not be a problem for you. That is going to a library, a physical library, and looking at their catalog and requesting book by book by book, opening it, reading through it, becoming disappointed, and then asking for another manuscript. So this is actually what people did in the old days. Now, if you see books by Joseph Peterson or Stephen Skinner or David Rankin, you will know that this is what they did. They went to the library and they checked out the catalog and they saw the catalog and they transcribed it by hand, no digital stuff, no nothing. In one comment about my about this blog, David Rankin actually congratulated me on my work, but it's not about modesty or pride. The work that I do is far easier than what David Rankin and Stephen Skinner did in the old days, going to the British Library and checking out the manuscripts and laying out the tables and then researching them and so forth. So when I'm saying I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, I am not kidding and I'm not being falsely modest. I'm actually standing on the shoulders of giants who did this kind of work the old way and went to the library and checked them out. They didn't sit in their, comfy chair in their leather-bound library with maybe a thong on or pants, just looking for digital manuscripts. So we have it way easier than them, but we owe them to do our best to find and locate and translate and bring to public attention new manuscripts, new materials, and so on and so forth. So thank you for listening thus far, and we will be back next time, next Wednesday, the day of Mercury, of course, and we will see what kind of digital libraries actually contain magical manuscripts and how they look, and then we will study how to read these manuscripts, and see you next time. Thank you.